Please introduce yourself and tell us in your own words how your work relates to the study of Canada. Then I'm Marcel Martel. I'm a professor of Canadian history at York University in Toronto. I have been studying Canada for almost 30 years. I've looked at the relations between Francophone minority groups and Francophones living in Quebec. But my work helps to better understand what makes Canada a country different from the rest of the world. Of course, we are thinking of its duality, language duality, but there is also the ethnic diversity that is not new. I think ethnic diversity has been there for several decades now. And the last thing, although I'm not an Indigenous scholar, but we have been asked by Indigenous people to acknowledge not only their presence, but to make sure that in our scholarly work, we acknowledge the role that Indigenous people have played in the development of what is now Canada. What is one concept or one insight that is particularly useful in your work to better understand Canada? I think we need to understand what the word diversity means. I'm always, annoyed when people think, and sometimes politicians like us to think that way, that Canada has been a multicultural society only since, the 1960s. This is not true. Canada has been diverse for 300, 400 years. First, Indigenous people before the arrival of non-Indigenous people, it was a group that included many different nations using different languages, etc. And they had, their own political institutions, their own social institutions. And then, of course, the arrival of non-Indigenous coming from Europe. And throughout the 19th century, you had other groups coming from other parts of Europe and Asia, etc. Then I would say something that I try to do when I teach and when I talk about Canada, it's to remind people that, this notion that Canada is a multicultural society, this is not something that emerged 60 or 70 years ago. This is something that I think has come to define, Canada as a society. And finally, the last question, it's what would be the most relevant advice for emerging scholars in Canadian studies or your field? I would say, please choose a topic that you're passionate about. Because one thing that anyone appreciates is when you are passionate about your topic. Passionate when you teach. This is something that, students will value. Passionate when you give papers. Passionate when you go to conferences and when people ask you, what are you working on? Then I think passion, this is what characterizes all of us as a scholar. We love what we do, and the reason we love what we do, it's because and sorry for reusing this word again, it's because we are passionate about what we work on, what we teach about, and when we interact with other scholars or non-scholars, we like to share our passion.